Des to walk us through their first win of the series.
Thank you, Riv and Cloud9, making me a liar there. I get to join the table of liars,
the liar desk,
losers, whatever you want to call it.
How does it feel to be the head of the loser desk?
I mean, the head of the losers is better than being just a loser, right? I guess. I'll take it. Anyway, let's talk about Cloud9's victory here, because we were actually kind of pushing them towards maybe putting more pressure onto Sneaky's shoulders, grabbing that Kog'Maw for him, and going into that, hyper carry ADC kind of a team comp. Well, they do the opposite. They give it away, and they still come out with the victory.
Well, it's interesting. I know I floundered around a whole lot when you're like, what should C9 do? And I'm like, it's like 17 things they could do. They went with the, hey, balls, go be crazy one. Right, because he did great in game 1. He beat up Quas there, and he just managed to follow through on it. And I know you were like the entire game, like, oh my God, Balls is huge. He's getting bigger and bigger. He's like up 100 CS this game. He was like level 18 for everyone else. And right at the very end, you heard the commentators say it, getting split pushed to death, right? Like, you have only one threat. It's only the Kog'Maw, and Hecarim's going to keep applying pressure and keep making life difficult. C9 got a Baron off of it. And then they just kind of kept control. They kept a gold lead, and there was really no easy way in for the Kog'Maw-based composition, because there's too many things going on. You can't react to all of them.
And something I liked, the adaptation there, was they didn't ban the Lulu. They left it open. They basically baited Team Liquid into picking this comp, because as soon as they get Lulu, they're going to go Juggermaw full on. And then Meteos just started ganking bottom. He put the pressure in the lane that they had that was winning and just shut that down. He's like, all right, immediately push that out. And then CS advantage across the board. High was able to keep even and a little bit ahead of Phoenix at some points.
Yeah.
And the fact that he picked a very safe champion for him, I think is something that Cloud9 needs to continue to do this series. Because on Lissandra, he was having basically no impact and falling behind. Yeah. On Corki, you can have like pretty moderate, even no impact, but he'll still stay up in CS. He'll stay safe, and I think that's really good for High.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I think like the two biggest things this game that happened for Cloud9 that was really important is, first of all, they got High on a pressuring mid lane champion, Corki. I feel like Corki's like his best champion right now in the meta, where he's pressuring Phoenix in. Phoenix isn't on his best champions, and when Phoenix isn't on that Azir, that Vlad, that Urgot, he doesn't have that pressure that he usually does on those champions, and he's not like doing as well. And the other thing is Meteos got that bottom lane pressure off. Even though he was playing Sejuani, he got Sneaky ahead. He got him snowballed so that they could just keep pressuring and snowball the game with all that split push and just constantly farming up while Team Liquid couldn't do anything with their carry comp. And I think that Corki pick is just going to be very important for the series.
Yeah, looking at Team Liquid and how they seem to be caught off guard with that Corki pickup. We talked about the possibility of them having to pivot into that Sion pick. And I mean, we can't, obviously we can't confirm that. You see them here on your screens. They're clearly talking about the loss that they just got handed, and they're going to have to regroup and try and come back and make it a 3-1. But without knowing whether or not the Lulu was always intended to go mid, I have to wonder, when Phoenix was applying so much pressure in the mid lane and really having a handle on that matchup, they put him on to Lulu, and he does struggle a little bit against that Corki.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of squandered resources here, right? Like, Phoenix hard carried game 2. He was like the reason they won. He dunked on lane, and then he absolutely crushed team fights. I want to see him on an impact champion. I think Team Liquid can reliably expect Phoenix to be a bigger threat than High, provided they give him a half-decent matchup. Lulu and a Corki, not really a great one. I want to see him with something actually much more aggressive, something that can make a whole bunch of plays. And there's more champions there. He can play Xerath, he's a good damage threat. He can play some Ahri, he can play some Zed himself, he can play Cassiopeia. All these are very good high-damage champions.
I think the biggest question for this game 4 is how deep is Phoenix's champion pool really? Because usually in a best of 5, you run one strategy, and you keep running that strategy until they beat it. And finally, Cloud9 found something that works. They banned out 3 mid champions from Phoenix. The question is, does Phoenix have a 4th champion? Does he have something that he's that strong on? Maybe it's Corki. Maybe they're going to take away Corki. I feel like the Lulu going mid instead of going top was not that impactful for Team Liquid.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they need pressure from that mid lane. They did have the Sion, but he got 4 levels behind, down 100 CS. Like, throwing a Lulu up in the top lane, that same situation is going to have a better time, right? If you're 100 CS down as Lulu, 4 levels down, you're like, oh, I'm still doing Lulu things. I'm still buffing the Kog'Maw, right? If they're mid laner, they could have picked pretty much anything in that situation, and it would have been a little bit better for them because they would have had another threat because it was all on Piglet's shoulders.
Yeah, honestly, so we talk about things on Piglet's shoulders, and, you know, you can see single threat comps
like,
work.
I think about it, I'm like, an Orianna. would have been okay too.
Sure, just
right?
another a damage dealing like semi-support.
Yeah.
And I agree. Yeah, I mean, I do like seeing teams diversify again. And at the very beginning, we talked about C9 how they diversified a little bit. Balls was a big split push threat, got them Baron. That's huge, right? And against a Nunu team, dear God, like the levels of awesome there are pretty high. But it was cool to see C9 like have everyone pitch in, right? So much of this game is on Sneaky's shoulders, and Sneaky is still performing even in losses. I feel like Sneaky's score lines and contributions are quite high, but he crushed the bottom lane and he got help. So good job everyone else, and then crushed bot lane even harder. High won his lane, sick. Balls won his lane, also sick. And so everyone here is contributing from C9. And like you were talking about how deep is Phoenix's champion pool? You know, can he be brought down? Well, High got brought up, right? We're like, all right, coming into playoffs, High can play Liss and High can play Zed. And we saw Liss get stomped. We saw Zed basically getting preemptively counterpicked. Well, Corki's here though, by the way. And like, if High can keep putting in these performances and going 10% above Phoenix, then this is almost an easy series for C9.
We're almost seeing the number of power players on each team shift as we saw the pick and ban phase alter, right? Because you get rid of all of what we said was Phoenix's power champions there in the mid lane, and then you take the Corki away from him. You're relegating him to someone that isn't going to be a playmaker, if anything, and then also someone that he might not be quite as comfortable on. In the meantime, you therefore boost High's performance.
Yeah.
Someone who in the previous games had already played, and we said, he didn't play so great on his first Corki game, wasn't that impressive. But when you give him the edge in that mid lane, he can use that to his advantage and strengthen their team. So I feel like for Team Liquid, their challenge now is to get back to that multi-threat strategy. Because in that game, they were a single threat.
And here's the thing about Liquid. Best of fives are what they love. We constantly talk about Team Liquid, how they have a million strategies out there. When they played CLG, they played 3 different comps. Here they've played roughly 4 different comps here. Okay, Juggernaut's not the comp. Toss it out. You got 2 more games to play. Whatever. They're going to have other things to play here. I'm so confident that Team Liquid have other comps to play. The question is now just momentum, right? Does it crack at the seams? Maybe. Like, we saw them, summer split against LMQ. They started 2-0, then they lost 3 in a row. This is always a possibility.
Lastly, again, as we have Team Liquid back up on your screen, Zion, momentum. Freak just touched on it. They started up 2-0. They've been in this situation before and had it run back against them 3-2. I mean, these discussions right now, you've been in this scenario as well. What are we talking about here? What do you ignore as a team, and what do you focus on in order to make sure you can come back in with the right mindset to pull out a win?
I think what a lot of people don't realize, the momentum is literally one of the biggest, if not the biggest factor going into the long series, where it closes up like 2-0, 2-1, like 2-2. The pressure's on, the pressure's mounting. Like, do you have somebody to bring the team back up, to focus in on what's important? Like, you don't want those doubts in the back of your mind, like, are we actually going to lose this? Like, are we actually good enough as a team? You need to be as a team, and you need to unite yourselves, and that's really hard to do sometimes when you're losing games like that and you're not really sure what happened.
All right, well, we saw them there finish up their discussions. Hopefully that means they are all on the same page and they're ready to go. Cloud9, though, have kept the series alive with that important win. After the break, we'll see if they can keep the momentum on their side, rather, in Game 4. Don't go anywhere.
All right. The Hecarim loss is a fluke. Hecarim 100% win rate, OP. Confirm, let's do it.
That's a real low Baron. Dominate flash is over. It's going to be going to Meteos though on the smite. Dominate couldn't get the bite off. He only got his smite. Oh, he makes it into the pit. Threads the needle. The Baron entrance. He gets in. Cloud9 is all tanking that Baron before it went down.
Third set.
They're killing Lemon. Phoenix is half.
Keep me going.
We can fight. Careful. Piglet. I'm coming. Piglet. Oh, I can't get there.
I got him. Wait, maybe?
Lemon's a little too tanky to take down. This fight went for Cloud9 last time it was to the base. Piglet dies immediately. 12-8, 38 minutes in. Cloud9 stays alive, and we got a Game 4.